Hello, everyone. Welcome to Edmonton-Blender-Artists. Blender, what is it? It's a free and open source 3D animation modeling software. It has many uses and capabilities. From 3D modeling and animating, 2D modeling and animating, video editing, image editing, storyboarding, games models and worlds, and so much more. Who am I? I'm Chris. I'm a visual music artist and producer who lives in Edmonton. I'm hearing impaired. So if you join the meeting, speak up. I am the creator of this meetup, Blender Edmonton-Artists. I will manage and guide this group, and I will try to host this once or twice a month or so for about 1 or 2 hours. Why are we here? To meet people in Edmonton who have a passion for Blender, to share a passion with each other, and talk about what we're doing and where we're at, and teach each other and learn from each other. And I want this group to be friendly to people who are brand new, who've just heard about it and want to learn something, to super advanced stuff and everything in between. To create a hub, so to speak, for people who use Blender and are looking to take their passion and their skills and bring it into the professional world, from video games to graphic design to 3D animation and modeling and all that. And yeah, create a place where, if there are potential people looking for, and recruiters looking for talent to bring into their projects, they can find it here. And I'm trying to keep it Edmonton and Alberta focused, and obviously if you're outside of Edmonton or anywhere in Alberta, that's good, but also Canada, because there's plenty of Edmonton Blender organizations around the world for different cities and countries around the world. So I want to stay focused on Alberta and Canada. And then maybe we can collaborate. You can meet people in here, and you can work on short films together, animations, music videos, whatever your heart desires. It's a place to share your passions and meet people and connect and do all sorts of fun creative stuff. I'm open to any suggestions for people who come and join in on these meetings. You can run portions of it if you give me advance notice. If you got an idea, something you want to talk about, something you want to guide people through, a specific aspect of Blender you want to teach people about, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know. And as we're doing right now, the structure of the meetup is the first 10 minutes. I'm just going to see who shows up. Today is looking pretty quiet. We've had a couple people show up in the past, and it is the summer and it's very busy, so maybe no one will show up, and I'll just continue on. And the 10 minutes to about half an hour, if there are newbies, I'm going to go through Blender, and regardless if anyone shows up, we'll go through Blender and just explain some of the basics of what it is and how it works. And from a half hour to an hour, I want people to introduce themselves and show their work and talk about it and discuss what they want. And then an hour and beyond. For this Blender meetup group, I want to always be working on a project. And our first Blender meetup, I was showing people the basics of Blender, and based on the suggestion, I was asked to create a barn, and I decided to start working on that barn, and I started with a little pig, and from there I'm going to evolve that project as Old MacDonald, and the idea is to create a children-friendly kind of family-friendly little video, old McDonald, the classic old McDonald how to farm kind of jingle, and make the animation for that with cute little 3D animation films. And yeah, I would like to get participation from people in the group to help work on that and kind of do that for about a half an hour every meetup. And kind of, if I'm the only one doing it, I'll explain what I'm doing and how I'm doing it as I go along. And that's what we'll do. During all of this, at any time, you're more than welcome. It's a free and open forum. You're more than welcome to say things and question things and talk about whatever you want. You know, if you got questions, if you want to slow down, you want to speed up, you want to take it somewhere else, just say the word. You can either write in the chat or you can open up the mic and talk out loud. For content, these streams and meetups will always be live on YouTube and left there for future reference. I can post the link in the chat there for anyone that needs it. There's also a Telegram chat, and that's open 24/7 for anyone who has questions or needs to communicate something about Blender, and hopefully someone can answer them. The idea over time is to grow that Telegram group to, you know, everyone within the community, and you're always there. And if you want to chime in or help someone out, or if someone needs help and they can find someone directly rather than, you know, if you're stuck, you can't find some answers on Google. Hopefully we can help each other out there via text message and image posting and all that. Meetup.com is where the main organizing happens for the meetup. And I'm thinking about down the road making a website for, you know, a more professional looking website for Edmonton specific or Alberta specific or Canada specific Blender artists, and having it there as like a landing page for scouts or recruiters, people looking for talent for their projects, whether it be independent projects or professional projects. And if you're interested, let me know, and, you know, we can build a profile for each person that wants to be a part of that, and a contact form and all that. So I'm all alone, and that's okay. I'm going to start by showing everyone the little piggy project, and eventually, oh, we have someone who just popped in. Adrian. How's it going, Adrian? I can't hear you. 1 second. Do you have your mic on? Oh, you have to unmute your mic there. If you go down to the bottom, you should see a mic.
All right, is that good now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. How's it going?
Right, good. Pretty good. You?
Good. You interested in Blender?
Oh yeah, I've actually used it a lot.
You use it a lot?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Are you from Edmonton or Alberta or Canada or around the world or what?
Arizona.
Arizona. Nice to meet you. Cool.
You too.
How long have you been using Blender for?
Several years actually.
Yeah. Is it just for fun, or is it just you trying to take it to a professional level, or just it's just fun for you?
It's kind of a mix of all of them.
You're actually working on the side as like a contract worker, doing like video games or animation, or?
Well, I don't work with it professionally yet, but I'm hoping to.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm just using it to build my portfolio, really.
Cool. Are you interested in sharing any of that, or for the stream here, or? Yeah. Just showing out.
You mean like some of the projects I work on?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, I could do that.
put a link to your what you got so far in the chat there, and I can put it up.
Sure. Hold up a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, it's up.
Yep. Are you seeing the main screen there? What I'm doing? Are you seeing what I'm doing there on the computer? Can you see full screen there? What my computer's doing? Can you see that? I have your YouTube profile up right now.
Actually, I can't see that. No.
Okay, 1 second. If you see in the right hand side of the meeting there, can you see Sam's computer?
Yeah.
I think if you click on that, it should make it bigger.
There's nothing showing, just the S and SC.
1 second here. Okay. Come on. Why is that not showing? I'm still working on getting these streams working properly. I don't know why it's not showing right now. If you go to I'm gonna put the link to the YouTube in there, and that should you should be able to see what I'm doing there. Might be slightly delayed as you'll hear me speak properly, but it might be the video might be slightly delayed. Yeah. I'm just you should be able to see that I'm on your YouTube page.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want me to check out?
I don't know. Just you choose any video at random.
So are you doing 2D animations in Blender as well? Is that what this is?
Well, I do 2D animation like on a separate program. If you look the World Animation Day one, that's probably like one of my proudest ones.
Which one's that, sorry?
The one that says World Animation Day Tribute.
It's in videos. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay. And this one you made in Blender?
Well, yeah, the 3D ones I've done in Blender, yes. The other ones use a program called Toon Boom, actually.
Very cool. Super cool. World Animation Day. What is that? Is that like, when's that?
That's like a tribute I made.
When's World Animation Day? Hello? You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
When's World Animation Day? Do you know?
That was a. Nah, I forgot. It's somewhere in this. It's like on the date that it was published.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool too. It's got the 2D glasses, kind of 3D glasses. Very, very cool, man.
So yeah, those are basically the things I've been up to.
Awesome. Yeah, so this is I was explaining earlier. I do a bit of an intro there, and I'm just trying to build a bit of a meetup hub for Edmonton, Alberta, and Canada. But obviously, like, anyone's welcome, even if you're from the States or whatever. I'm not sure. Do you take part in other meetups for Blender in the States, or is this the first one you found on Meetup.com? Or
Sorry, what was that last part you said?
is this the first meetup for Blender you found on Meetup.com, or do you take part in
Yeah,
other
this
ones?
is the first one I've found.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad you're taking part. I'm always interested to see who shows up. I had someone showed up in the first two who's actually a developer from Blender from California, and he comes to Edmonton sometimes, and he showed up too. So it's very it's cool that all sorts of people show up. And yeah, I'm just trying to create a hub of people who are into it and who have passion for it, and they kind of share and talk about their work. And I'm trying to split up the meetup between 1 to 2 hours and introduce people and get people to know each other. And then what I was at now is I'm working on a bit of a collaboration project that I want to start for the meetup group. Earlier on one of the original ones, I was just showing the basics of Blender, and someone suggested a farm, and I decided to try to make a little pig. So I made this like very basic pig. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a farm that'll eventually have like kind of the classic old MacDonald had a farm jingle to it, and it'll be animated, and then maybe be like a like a whatever 3-minute video, and kind of just showcasing the basic elements of Blender as we make it, and spend like 15 minutes 20 minutes on that, and trying to get other people to take part in making the different aspects of it. So far I've gotten a bit of mud and dirt and a pig pen with a little piggy in it.
Yeah, I can see that. Looks pretty good though.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cute, right? What do you think would be should be added next?
Hmm. I'm not too sure, really. I mean, maybe just maybe just something in the mud or something like whatever it is they eat out of or something.
Oh, like a trough. Yeah, yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah,
So for that, I would. Are you using PC or Mac to do this?
I use PC.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to. I think everything. So Mac has a key called Command key. I think that's always Control in PC. But I'm sure how 1 to 10, what would you think your level of understanding of Blender is?
Mm, I'd say I'm like about a 7 or 8.
Yeah. Well,
What about you?
yeah. I'd say I'm kind of there. Yeah. I definitely am not full 10, but I've explored all the different areas, and I have no problem creating cute little things and simple stuff. The realism part I would like to explore over time as well, but I'm not quite like I'm the more advanced, like getting into super intense detail, um, making simulations and all that stuff. I still am not quite there yet.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
would I would I would like to get there over time. I've probably been using Blender for 6 years now.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Well, I'd say I've been using for at least 10 years, probably.
Wow. Okay. But you keeping most of your projects kind of on the down low or what?
Uh, a little bit on down low, but I am trying to expand my audience actually.
Yeah. But like cuz you showed me your website there. You got like there's one two just like maybe like 3 or 4. You just did you do other stuff for people and you just it's theirs now and you can't share it, or did you?
Now most of the stuff that I did on my YouTube channel, that was just personal stuff for me. Like I've never, like I haven't, I have done a few things for other people on a site like Fiverr,
Yeah.
but they're like different than, but they're not on that channel
Okay.
actually.
Do you stick to just animations, or do you try to do like hyperrealism, or just
Hmm. Sometimes I strive for hyperrealism, but I don't really have the computing power to do that
yeah,
really.
yeah, it's hard. So anyways, I'll try to make a trough here. First of all, what would you for a trough? Um, you can always add, and I'm explaining this. I'm sure based on if you've been with the 10 years, you have more of an understanding. But I'm going to try to speak out loud what to do for anyone else whoever comes across this. So, and if you feel like it, you can chime in and tell me anything that more that I'm missing if you want. So to make a trough, I'd pull this out, and you can make as many little windows as you want within Blender by going to the corners and dragging them out. And you can put an image editor in there if you click the top there for a reference image. And then I would search Google for a pig trough. I think that's how you spell it, pig feeder. And these are pretty gross, but it's just that's a pretty basic one. Most of them are made of pretty much wood. So you can actually probably just drag it in there to Blender. Will that work? Is it gonna work? No.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes not. But so I'll just I'll save this image as to downloads. And then you can drag it from your downloads into your Blender, and then it'll work. And then you have your little reference image. You can zoom in on it and look at it. And the pig trough looks pretty basic. So for there, I press Shift A to probably start with a cube. And then you can, and again, like if you, while I'm doing this, if you think there's a better way to do this, you can suggest it. From there, I'd try to proportion it the size of the pig. And this is put in the ground by pressing G and then Z and then G to Y to move it over in front of the pig. And then I'll press G and X, G for grab, and then X for the X axis and bring it in front of the pig. And I think that's a little tall, so I'd then press S for scale, and then I'd Z it down for the Z axis. And I'd say that's about a good height. And then I'm going to scale it along the Y axis to make it a little longer based on our reference image. Because down the road we might have more than one pig in here. And now I'd say just going to grab and move it a little more into the dirt, pressing G and then Z. And then from there, you can see it's kind of in the dirt. And now we need to open it up. So with the trough selected, first I'd say is as you're creating objects and models, you want to keep them organized over here in your collection, in your what do you call this? It's called the liner property or the outliner, sorry. And right now this is labeled as a cube as the default, and I want to make sure it's in my Pigpen folder, which I've already created, or collection. And you can either double click on it here, or if you're out over here, if you press the FN button and F2, I think if you just press F2 on PC it works, it opens up your object name and you can name it in there, and I'm going to call it the I'm just call it the trough or the dash feeder. And then from there I have it, now it's labeled over here in the outliner. And now since it's selected, if you press tab, it opens up the edit mode, and if you go up here you can click the face panel, and if you click here on that one face and then again FN and I press delete, it opens up the delete menu and I can delete faces. Now we have an open trough. When you're moving things around and reshaping them, resizing them, it's a good habit when you're using Blender to program in your mind to often tab out in object mode is to press control or command apply or A, sorry, and that applies the different transformations. And if you look right now at your dimensions and your scales, you see the different numbers and stuff. But if you command A and apply all transforms, you'll notice it all goes back to 1 and 0, and zeros everything out. And that really helps for when you're doing all sorts of different things in edit mode. From here, I would so this trough, I don't think I'm going to do that bend there, but I am going to shape it a little more like the trough. So if I hit the edge mode up here and I press Alt on the edges, it's going to select all the edges. And if you just click one edge, you're just going to get one edge. But if you click Alt and the edges, you're going to get all the edges that wrap around that. And from there, I'll just press S and scale it. And now that moves it kind of more out like the trough is in the picture. And from there, we can make it thicker in a variety of ways. But I would just go to the gear or wrench icon here, which is the add modifier properties, and I'd add a modifier, and I would just go to solidify, and that makes it a little thicker, you can see. And for this cartoon purposes, I'll make it a little more kind of cartoonishly thick by rising up the thickness. And from there we have the trough. And for now, if I tab out into object mode and go over to the materials property, we can add a new material, or since we already have this cartoonish wood for the fence, we could match it. Or I'm looking at it, and maybe we might have older or a different shade of wood, so we'll probably just add a new one, and we'll still call it wood, but we'll name it like wood, and we'll name it wood trough. And then from there, if you go down to base color, we can pick a bit of a different brownish color, and you can knock it down the darkness, move it over to a more brownish color. And I feel like the pig trough is probably going to be more up against the fence. Grab it and then press X, move it kind of closer to the fence. And then it can either be, so I figure you'd probably have your pig trough, which would be for food. Then you probably have your pig trough, which would be for water. So I'd shift D to duplicate it, and then I'd press X to move it, and I put one on the other side for fun. Grab X, grab it, G and X to grab it, and then for this guy, I'd want to add water in it, right? So since it's a simple cartoon, I almost think that this here, the ground, the dirt and the mud, the way I set it up with the texture to make it all dirt looking and different levels and different variations of it, you could probably turn that into water too. So if you can shift D that, and then press Z to kind of lift it up a little bit, and then S to scale it, you can scale it down, and then grab it with a G, and then the X again over here. And then when you scale it, I would like to scale it so it's more of a rectangle, so I just scale the X axis by pressing S and then X. And then yeah, that looks almost right. Scale with a little S and X again, and then scale it with a bit of a Y axis. Grab it with Y, bring it down, and then from there grab it with G and a Z to bring it into there. And so this material, when you shrink it, it doesn't look as good. So what I would do is I'd go over to the material properties, and I would press this to duplicate it. So it's, if you were to change this material right now, you'd be changing both the ground and the water in the trough. So we don't want to affect the ground, which is material, and I'm going to rename that ground. Or sorry, I'll name it mud. Pig pen mud. And then I would duplicate it by pressing this one right here. And now it's pig pen mud 1, but I'd change it to trough water. So now we have a completely different material, and you can make it blue. Maybe a little bit of a lighter blue here. And then since we, for this material, we have a a texture added to it through the texture modifier, we should be able to change the bumps in it a little bit with the strength. And when you're moving things around in all sorts of different what do you call them, like input sections, you can see it moves like really wild. So to kind of make your movements less consequential, you can hold shift while you do that, and it gets a little more fine with its movements. And then if I go to the texture down here and I change the size with the shift again, oh, nope, see, that won't work. Okay. Right now, this displace is the same as the mud displace. So what I want to do is I want to change my water displace as well. And again, you have this duplicate layer, and now it's enabled as texture 1, but we'll call it a texture water. And now if I move it, it's only going to move the water. If I go down here and texture water, and I want to change the size and the scale to something more like that, change the depth a bit maybe, and then go back to the here, then we go to strength again, and then that kind of looks like a bit more like water sitting in the trough for the pig. And then if we want, we can take that and we can shift D to duplicate it and press X, and you can slide it right over into the other trough, and from there grab the Y bit there, it's a little sticking out. Now we have water on this side, but we can do the same thing, and in the future make it a little more detailed, or add a little bit extra stuff in there. But for now, we can keep the texture for it for now, but if we go to the material, we have trough water. Now we want to duplicate again and change trough water to trough food. And then, yeah, like food's usually a bit of a browny color as well, but we'll make it like a dark kind of greeny, sloppy kind of look. And now we have some troughs. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, it looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's alright, eh? For
I'm not too sure what else to add to it. I mean, I would recommend some things, but I don't know what computing power you have.
I'm alright. I'm decent. So I'm up for suggestions, because like I said, I want to make this a bit of a video, and there's going to be multiple animals, and there's going to be a barn, there's going to be grass, there's going to be that's the question. If you're imagining it from different scenes, what would how would you to make the depth of the scene? You can add a big plane in the background and have an image or something for a bit of more of a pasture. And yeah, like I said, I want to build a barn and all that stuff. But what do you think right now for additions?
I don't know. Maybe some grass in the background and a few haystacks.
Grass and haystacks.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you so for grass, are you familiar with the particle editor?
Um, I rarely use it, but yeah, I know what it is.
What would you use to make grass? Just a plane or and a texture?
Sometimes planes textures with a bit of hair, but don't usually make but I don't usually make it move like dynamic or hair.
Yeah, we're not going to go that far, that's for sure. So I just created another plane using Shift A, and I selected the plane. And then for now, I would say let's press S. And then when you scale things, you can add in numbers. So I press S, and if I want to scale it 10 times, I press 1, 0. And that's pretty small, so I'll delete that. Let's try 5, 0. 5 zeros are alright. Let's try 100. That's a little bit bigger for the size of the scene. And I'll press G and Z to bring it down. Get a little closer here. G and Z a little more. And yeah, that looks about right for now. And then again, we will add another material by going over to the material properties and press new. And I'll call it grass. And for now, for a base color, you want some sort of grassy base color, a little darker probably. And yeah, I'm already noticing there's a bit of a shine to it. For the base color, I would say you go down over into your outliner here and to material properties, and then you'd bring the roughness all the way up, and that gets rid of the shine. And then from there, you're saying you would add hair to that?
Yeah.
So I go over to particle properties right here, and then I'd press plus on here, which will make a new particle system, and you'd add hair by instead of emitter, you click hair. And this is where it gets so you can add children to this hair. I think, do you have to be in, oh, sorry, you have to be in, you can be in material preview mode, but you have to be in cycles in order to see it. Is that the way it works?
I really don't know, actually.
Yeah, okay. So I've used it a bunch of times, and the problem is it a lot of it. So if I render right now, let's render image. Oh, bad fucking camera angle. Oops, sorry, I swear. If I go to camera up here in the outliner, and then I press 0, that'll show us camera view. If I press shift and then I don't know the name of that button, but it's a little squiggly line, I can get into like player mode, and then you can use the arrows to back in and out, and if you press shift you can do it really fast. And right now we're on this side of the pig, so with the camera selected, I'm going to press grab, and I'm going to bring it over here, and then shift squiggly line again, and I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to shift back, and then press grab and bring it down. And then shift squiggly thing again. And now if I render the image, we'll see what we got so far. So we got a bunch of spiky grass there. I don't think that's what we're looking for. But that's a start. So first off, I'm seeing that if we're going to do it that way, we don't want the grass poking through the dirt and the mud.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it looks like cones, actually.
yeah, it does look like cones. And first off, to do that, I'd press I click the ground, I press 7, and that'll give us an overview. And then if I press K for, if I press tab to edit and I press K for knife, I can then go like this and click here, and then I'll press X to go along the axis here, click there, and then, why did that work? Okay, K for knife, what's that, Y? Oh, okay, so Y to go down in a straight line, and then X to go across in a straight line. Oh. Knife there. Okay, why is the knife not working? Knife here, and then Y to go in a straight line here, and then X. Okay, that's not gonna. Y. Interesting. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, let's try it without the. Let's just do knife, and then we'll do knife here. Click there. Click there. Click there, and then right where we started, and then press enter. Now there's going to be a square there, and if I click the face mode, I can click on the square underneath, and you can see it selected underneath. If I do that, and then delete the face. Now if I render it again, you can see, and this is the whole point of this meetup, is I'm learning things too. So when I cut a hole there, it seemed like it actually ruined the particle system. That's interesting, because now you don't see any of the particles. If we get rid of the particle system by pressing the minus and then add a new one, and we click hair, is that going to bring it back? No. I'm going to undo all that. And then
Maybe try doing it in object mode instead of edit mode.
That is a good point. Okay, let's try that. I'm going to redo all that stuff. There you go. That's why. Yep, you're right. So now if I render it in image mode, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I don't think I've ever tried to render it in edit mode by like that before. Okay. So we can see the grass, and the length is definitely too tall, so we're going to remove the length. Well, let's try 1 for now. And we'll render again here. So now we got some little bumps. That's a start. So we have 1,000 as a number of emissions, and that's a fair amount. And then you can use a seed to randomize it. The length is fine. The segments are fine. To add extra and more grass, you can add children to it, and you can do simple or interpolated. We'll do interpolated, and that adds a lot more grass, as you can see here. And if we render image now, you're going to see a lot more grass. It's going to take a lot more time, but it should be all right. And warning, I have done a couple streams where my computer crashed, so hopefully that won't happen. So yeah, there you go. You got a lot more grass now. and it's very coney right now. That looks kind of cool. We can go down to the hair shape, and the tip is 0 meters, but we can make it like 0.05 meters, so it's not like a complete zeroed out. And the meter root, we can probably drop it down to like, let's try 0.5. And let's try another render. Looks a little bit better. Closed it. If we do point, let's try 0.1 for a diameter of the root. Diameter scale, let's try 0.001. And that made it a lot thinner by making the diameter scale too small. So diameter scale 0.001 is too small. And point was 0.1 was what it was before. And let's 0.009. Is that gonna? It won't do it that well. Okay. Let's try 0.1. See what happens there. I'm not a super professional at this. I've played around with it. There's I've made some stuff where I looked online for YouTube tutorials, and it taught me how to make it more like anime grass. But off the top of my head, as I'm doing this live, I can't remember the exact settings for it. I had it.
Yeah, I understand that. I often look at tutorials when I'm making my things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like there's so much within Blender that it's just there's so many different options and details. Yeah, it's now it's very humpy. I think now so that 0.1 makes it maybe if we make the tip 0.0, let's try 0.05 for 0.5 for the diameter scale. The root will be 0.5 and the chip will be 0.1. And I'm just going to press 0 and I'm going to grab the camera. I'm going to move it down a bit. And then I'm noticing that the light above here is the one light we have in the project so far is pretty pretty dull. So we'll if you go, when you have the light selected, if you go over to the light setting, we can make it a sun, and we'll see how that looks for now, just the way it is with rendering the image. that is taking a lot of time.
Yeah, I hate when it takes that long.
Yeah. Particle system definitely has a lot of load on the computer, that is for sure. And I think the sun is definitely way too strong. At 1000, that's way too much for the sun. So we'll drop down to like 5. And then there's actually a way here. If you go over here and you press Control B, it gives you this, and you can click and then move it about here. And now from here, if I click into display render preview, it'll show me just that area, so it won't take up too much resources on the computer. So let's try that. And if I go into the particle system again, maybe we can get some real-time kind of see what it looks like when you change this stuff. So if I do 0.008 or 6, sorry, there you go. So that's 0.006. That looks a little more realistic for grass. And if you go to the interpolated, right now we have the render amount to 100. We can probably drop it up to 1000. Or sorry, is this 10 for display? Yeah, it's gonna ruin my computer. I might crash the computer here. Well, didn't crash it, but so display amount will show in render view, and you just in render preview. So we'll drop that back down to 10 because that is a lot of resources. It's gonna render even more than that at 1000. We'll drop render amount to 500, and then if I zoom in here, we're looking at these shapes here. You could do things like parting and clumping, and you can do the different. You can change the clumping, and all these clumps like will move. You can see it moves some of them, and it's pretty random too. It's not clump noise. Add clump noise to it. Now it just change them a little bit more. If I open up clump noise, shrink it down a bit. Like let's say roughness. Roughness has a lot more options. We can randomize it a bit for fun, and that just made craziness. That's pretty cool, actually. We'll just change it a little more. Randomize it, and the size we're going to drop down to 0.8 or 0.7. And then the shape, let's try 0.5. Didn't do much. The size will drop down to 0.9. The endpoint will drop to 0.2. What just happened there? So now the grass is all like... That's interesting. So in this little square I got going down, I press Control B to create it. If I press Control Alt B, it'll get rid of it. And I'll go back into this mode here, material preview mode. And then we're going to go look at our camera by pressing 0 again. And we'll do GZ to rise it a bit. And then we'll press Shift squiggly thing to back out a bit. Kind of get a bigger picture of what's going on. And I'm going to save it. And this is a big thing with Blender, is you need to remember to save it. You can put autosave on, but I don't always trust autosave. But if you don't have autosave on, I just realized this now, I haven't for like over 20 minutes saved it. So saving it is huge, because especially when you're screwing around with particle generator and all that stuff, it will crash from time to time. And I'm very lucky because that would have sucked if I lost all that. So it's saved now, and I'm going to render the image, and I'm going to see what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, I always use the save incremental home feature myself, actually.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to have on. I just I got frustrated with it because sometimes it didn't work for me. But if it works for you, yeah, you can see it's what you can make it save like every 10 or 5 minutes or half an hour, whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
Just gonna see how this. It's taking a bit to render here. I have it in cycles mode. Eh? A little too much on the computer. Oh, as I exit, it's gonna do it.
Huh?
It's taking some time. I just exited. Now it's having a bit of a moment. Might be freezing. Speak of the devil, I think my Blender just froze. Luckily I saved it. Luckily I saved it.
Huh. I hate when that happens too.
Yeah. Alright, so anyways. I think with that, I'm gonna call it a day, but what I'm gonna do is after this event, but for now, if you want, I can if you're gonna join us in the future, every time I finish this, I'm gonna share it.
Okay, well, I'll think of attending next time, but do you think if you can, like, could you also recommend my channel to others? Just
absolutely.
Just like get more people to see my work.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of this meetup too. One of the main things that I want to do. I was talking about. I don't know if you were in once I was explaining that, but as I this is only the 5th meetup I've done, and as time goes on, I want to make a website where there will be references to anyone that wants to be on there, and that way, if there are people who are looking for Blender artists, they have a place to go to find links to description of who they are and links to their work and all that stuff. So, yeah, I will be doing that. And if we hear anything of anyone that's looking for artists to contract out or anything, we'll definitely share that. Right now I have your YouTube link and I have your name. So if there's anything else you want me to add, you can put it in the track the chat.
All right. Well, it was nice meeting you.
Sorry.
It was nice meeting with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, and I hope I see you again sometime.
All right.
I'm just going to if you want to play around with this file. I just put a Google link if you want to download it and look at this file or play with it. And if you do decide to come to another meetup in your own free time, if you want to make an animal or a barn or anything you want to add to that, I want to, as we do these things, I would like to show people to how you can take from one file and then, you know, insert certain characters and objects and stuff into a new Blender file and all that. So if you're interested, there's no pressure if you don't want to do that, but the link to the file, the Blender file, is in the Google chat there, or in the chat with a Google link to it.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, nice meeting you, sir. Until next time, have a good one.
Okay.